Good morning. Hi. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hello, babies. Hi. How are you? I hope you're doing so well. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your donations. I really do appreciate it, and I thank you so much. This is a general message. Take what resonates, leave the rest. It is also timeless, so whenever you find it, it is the right time. Okay, let's get into it. Y'all's energy, I get a lot of people want to hear, like, why, somebody did them dirty or what was going on. So we're gonna do one of those dang messages. And the music even matched up with it. So perfectly perfect. So it was meant to be. I really don't like reading into the karmic energy too much, but if you need to know to let go, then we're here for it. Because I'm trying to do more high vibe stuff. All right, so I'm going to go backwards for some reason in the songs that were on shuffle. So the last song I got on shuffle was Push by Matchbox 20. Said I don't know if I've ever been good enough. I'm a little bit rusty, and I think my head is caving in. And I don't know if I've ever been really loved. My hand that's touched me, by a hand that's touched me, and I feel like something's gonna give. And I'm a little bit angry, well, this ain't over. No, not here. Not while I still need you around. You don't know me, we might change, yeah. Well, we just might feel good. I wanna push you around. I wanna push you around. Well, I will. Well, I will. I wanna push you around. Well, I will. I will. I wanna take you for granted. I wanna take you for granted. Yeah, yeah, well, I will. She said, I don't know why you ever would have lied to me. Like I'm a little untrusting when I think that truth is gonna hurt you. And I don't know why you couldn't just stay with me. You couldn't stand to be near me when my face don't seem to wanna shine. 'Cause it's a little bit dirty. Oh, well, don't just stand there, say nice things to me. 'Cause I've been cheated, I've been wronged, and you don't know me, well, I can't change. So on and so forth. I know there's a lot in this song, so I'm sorry. Thank you for hanging out while I haven't heard the song in so long, but it popped up and I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. Don't bowl over me. Just wait a minute. Well, it kind of fell apart. Things just get so crazy. Don't rush this, baby. Don't rush this. Okay. So I hate reading these messages, but here we are because y'all wanted one. What I'm getting here is the person felt that it was moving too quickly. And the freaking nuts thing is I guarantee y'all had been together for a very long time. Whatever it is. It could have been months to 10 years, whatever. And this person's like, well, this is getting it's too quick for me. I'm not ready. And, when I was shuffling earlier, the Mother card came out of my archetype deck. So this message is going to be all over the place because I'm like trying to rush it and there's just a lot of information happening right now. I might come back and do another one. But what I'm getting here is, so if they ever saw you in this laughter energy because they were so miserable, And since when I was shuffling my deck earlier, this deck I'm shuffling now, the archetype deck, the mother card came out. And I'm getting here that that's kind of what their mom did, or, you know, a maternal figure did. If somebody, you know, because that person was so unhappy that they had to control. Because this push song is, you know, on the fence of, you know, is it DV or what? Domestic violence or something? I don't know what exactly, but, you know, it's saying, I don't know if I've ever been really loved by a hand that's touched me. So, and I feel like something's gonna give, and I'm a little bit angry. So, like, this person, you know, the mother, you know, this is kind of what I'm getting is like why they're like this. Their mother would do stuff to like bring everybody down because they were in a shitty mood. So the person, you know, that betrayed you learned that from their maternal side. So they would do that because that's how they learn to control. With this push song, they're learning to control. Because one of the other songs that I got was My Way by Limp Bizkit. And I want to push you down. Well, I will. Well, I will. I want to take you for granted. Yeah, well, I will. Oh my God, too many. And then, so, and with that laughter in reverse of like, you know, being unhappy, so they had to like, that would trigger them. So with this impromptu card shortly after that fell out, I'm getting that is they would just make this quick decision. It wasn't even a thought. It was just a reaction to that, like seeing, you know, them being in like, you know, they never dealt with any of their trauma or stuff. So they were never truly in this happy state. It was always just boiling and churning inside of them as they tried to push it down. But, you know, that can only stay down for so long. And they were imbalanced. I'm seeing that usually I read this in like as a balance, but since it's imbalanced in reverse, I'm seeing it as like doubly imbalanced. So because they never worked on themselves. So they were constantly pushing down everything because that's what they learned. That's what they learned from their family. That's what they learned. So, and in their way of controlling what they didn't want to deal with, they would control things outside of them because they had no idea that it was internal. They learned it from their maternal side. It was an unconscious thing. Yes, they were quote unquote intentionally hurting you in a way, but it was still so unconscious. They didn't mean to do it. It was just how they were taught to interact with partners and whatnot. With that My Way Limp Bizkit song, you think you're special, you do. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it when you laugh at me. I can see it when you laugh at me, look down on me, and walk around on me. So anytime that like you were happy or like if you express something about yourself, these insecurities that were passed down through their generations, through their family, they took that as a personal attack. Like, oh, well, you just, because you're happy and you think this and that, you know, that's what they were feeling, is like, it was a personal thing. Like you were laughing at them. Instead of like you just being happy. Like it's like you were happy because this is how they think. For one, they thought that you were happy because they weren't, because that's how they would be. So that's why it would shift, and you know, they would see you having a good time and they had to push into you, like Matchbox 20 push. They had to push into you, push that down because they don't want to see you free. And you know, because you've done a little more work than them, you know, you're willing to look at yourself and take responsibility for what's happened to you, that they just came at you. And because they were like, well, this asshole's laughing at me. Just one more fight about your leadership and I will straight up leave your shit. Because I've had enough of this and now I'm pissed. Yeah. This time I'm gonna let it all out. This time I'm gonna stand up and shout. I'm gonna do things my way. It's my way or the highway. So we have storyteller in reverse, making up tales that harm others. So this is how they controlled things. So if they ever saw you, like, say you took control in a situation because like you had experienced something, they were so deeply insecure. And once again, I'm getting from the maternal side is like, you know, they may have been insecure about their intelligence because that may have been something that was pushed on them by their mother or just that side. And, you know, take it as it resonates, but just because the mother card like fell out ever so perfectly, like in my face, basically, I'm definitely getting a lot of mommy stuff. That was passed down, and it could definitely be from the father's side as well, but just because that was the card that came out, I'm going with that right now. Take it how it resonates, obviously. But because they were, you know, that may have been pushed on them, like, you know, they were told they were stupid as a kid if they did anything wrong or said anything because of the insecurity of the mother and, you know, parents in general. We're just going to go with that. So then they would see you with the leadership thing. If you took, you know, like, hey, I know this, they did, because they needed to be the one, the smartest, the best. They couldn't let you have that because they were taught in the family that you have to fight and scrap and be the best and prove your intelligence, prove that you're worthy of love and control in any sort of way. And it's funny because I've got like a throat tickle, so I can tell that this is they couldn't use their throat chakra, they couldn't use their voice and speak truth because they had to manipulate and use things or else they got in trouble or, you know, hurt. Like they were taught by their parents in the way that they were parented and witnessed interactions between two lovers. We have servant. Delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. Once again, I'm seeing this as like, see how this person is like happily serving. They're like skipping and hopping like, oh, I'm bringing coffee or tea to somebody. If they saw you in that energy, it like agitated them because, and they almost felt that you were like fake, especially with the storyteller in reverse, that they were like, oh, well, they were, in their head thinking like, oh, they're just being fake. They're just trying to rub it in my face. Like they took it as like some weird personal attack that you're like trying to agitate them with your like light and happiness. When in fact you were just being genuine, but because they were taught to be so false and they couldn't express their true selves, that's how they think. They just think that everyone is fake and doing something to jab at you, you know, because that's what they did, you know, especially with that making up tales that harm others. They would do that. And you know, they may have been pinned, you know, had experienced triangulation in their family between parents or children, you know, or other siblings, other family members, you know, where somebody would be like, oh, well, don't go to them because they said this, and then they would go to the other person and be like, oh, well, so-and-so said this about you, just trying to pin others against each other when in fact the problem person was, well, say like the mom went to your person and was like, hey, your sibling is saying this about you, or you need to work harder than them because they're surpassing you, they're better than you. And they think that like you need to do better. And then so they'd go the other sibling and, you know, say the same shit. So like there was this tension between the two. We have child orphan, independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of surviving. So they were taught to not trust anyone in their family because there was probably a lot of, you know, like I was saying, triangulation, gossip, bullying within the family. So lots of like underhanded stuff, like going against each other. I'm definitely getting that, both parents had this way of acting innocent, but just being awful. So, if you experience that with this person, they're literally just being their parents. They're just being their family, because they were taught that you can't trust anyone, and this is how I'm going to, maybe they were only loved if they expressed that, that behavior, because the parents knew it and it was comfortable to them, so that's how they could be safe. And then the last one we got, scribe, preserving knowledge and information. And what I'm getting here with that card is that they're holding on to this. They're holding on to how they were taught as children. You have gone through awful, terrible things as a child, but you chose and you saw it early on not to behave in that way. You knew it was just where you were at, who you were, who you stepped into in this timeline, where you were at, that you could see it early on and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna play into this. A good story was like when I was like, I don't know, 7, 6, I greatly recall, like so easily, I may have been 7 or 8 more likely, but I recall being like passive aggressive with my parents, because like I remember it being unfair the way they treated me, so I would just like use passive aggressive jabs. Because I knew that I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I remember thinking this behavior is unfair. And so like, I could see you as early on, you could see that behavior and you were able to act and choose a different course. However that happened, you were able to choose a different course. I didn't want that deck. I guess maybe I'll shuffle one since I grabbed it. So interesting. The maze. I'm seeing this as like, with this person, they couldn't get their way out. Since they were still holding on to this, they didn't understand that what they went through and how they're supposed to like overcome. They didn't understand that this was a maze that they would have to get through. They would have to, what those triggering feelings they experienced of, oh, well, you think you're special. You're laughing at me. And, they didn't take that as oh, this is something I have to solve. This is something I have to work through. They just took it as, well, this is a problem and I'm going to just control it the way I've learned to control it. Yeah, they didn't listen to with this animal spirits. That was those moments where their spirit team like trying to like talk to them, and they were trying to work through with them and help them heal, but they chose not to listen with that maze in reverse. They didn't see it as an opportunity to heal. It was more because they were just clinging on with that scribe. It was just like carved into their essence, into their mind, into how they are, who they act in this 3D world, that they couldn't understand that was what it was. It was a challenge to shift, to change, because it was etched in so deeply within them. The other song I got here is Far Behind by Candlebox. Now maybe I did not mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. And then maybe some would say your life was sad, but you lived it anyway. And so maybe your friends, they stand around, they watch you crumble as you falter to the ground. And then someday your friends, they say, stand beside as you were flying. Oh, you were flying, oh so high. Huh, that's funny. The flying card was at the bottom. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, this person may have had an inkling in the relationship that they were bad for you, because I'm seeing it as like your friends watch you crumble. You were flying oh so high. They knew, maybe subconsciously, but pushed it down, that it's like they felt that you were better than them and too good for them. And so they still needed to like treat you, that's what pushed them to act in this way of like, I didn't mean to treat you bad. They didn't mean to, but that competition of like, oh, they're better than me, so I need to, with being the raised that they were and the way that they were taught to control things and push on things and hurt people. And so they did. And, they may have this knowing that they're, if they pushed you away from your family and friends, or like did more triangulation and like kept you away from people, or just energetically did that, like just with their behavior, like instead of like saying like, oh, I don't like when you hang out with them, they probably would just act out so ridiculous or pout or, get however they could get their way, however they were taught to get their way growing up. They would do that to, keep you away from your friends, that type of thing, because they knew that if you talked about that to them or whatever, that they would be outed. And it was all subconscious. All right, any tarot we can get on this. I did not mean to treat you bad, but I did it anyway. Oh, man. Under the deck, we have the High Priestess in reverse with the Ace of Cups. Oh, and guess what's underneath that? The Ten of Pentacles. They know now that they love you, that they did, and they felt deeply, and they probably still do. And they see it as like, wow, that was what true love could have felt like. That's what true love could have been. But they were so wounded and on their agenda. And with the rest of the cards, I'll get into this, but they still can't quite, they understand now that yes, you were a wish fulfillment. It is, no secret anymore with that High Priestess, that you were basically put into their life to heal them and give them this amazing love. And that would have been their legacy, their forever person. They could have had everything with you, but they chose not to. And we have the Hierophant sideways. So they go between learning the lesson and understanding that it was a lesson and just refusing not to, just being stubborn, because that card's associated with Taurus. So, on their shadow side, they can be so stubborn to where they will not see a damn thing. But they, with this Hierophant card, it's learning the lesson, the great teacher. They vacillate between the two of them, where it's like, oh, that was a lesson, like maybe, but then their ego takes over and then they just refuse to see it as that. And then they make you the villain. We have the Eight of Cups in sideways as well. So that's telling me they were happy that it ended, like, because they got that freedom, the lifting off of, because sometimes the only healing you can do is in union with somebody, because, you can be by yourself and not get those parts triggered within you. And being with you is what triggered these parts because they had to act right, because there's another person that you have to account for. And so they were happy that it ended because they had that you weren't churning their demons inside of them to make them be looked at. You weren't churning that anymore, but they miss you because they know that you were your person. You were their person. And we have Six of Swords sideways. Once again, I'm seeing this Eight of Cups and the Six of Swords sideways being like, they're moving on and learning the lesson one moment, or stepping away and leaving you alone energetically. And then the next, they're falling right back into, they can't move on. They're back into the turbulent waters with this one. This is, it depicts a boat moving from turbulent waters to smooth waters. And that's like dealing with your emotions and, processing them. So they go between being that, wanting to move on and heal that, and then they just fall right back into old habits because, addictions or whatever. And because their grip with their ego and their demons are so strong in them that they refuse to truly see that it's all them. You know, just as what you experienced was all you. You played the part in agreeing to this. You agreed to it. And that's your responsibility. I'm not saying you deserved it, but you can always, exercise your free will and leave situations and learn the lesson quicker. You know what I'm saying? But it needed to happen the way it happened in order for you to learn the lesson, in order for you to see it the way it is. This person just goes in between learning the lesson, seeing it as a lesson, and villainizing you. Seeing it as, oh, I'm so glad they're gone. I'm free from them. They made me feel so terrible. I'm glad we walked away from each other, however it went. I'm glad they walked away. And then they're clinging on, because that 8 of Cups in reverse is don't walk away, clinging to what was. And same with that 6 of Swords, they're still stuck in this. They can't move on mentally, emotionally. And then one moment they're like, I want to move on. I want to heal. Like, I want this better. They're so back and forth with this. And one thing that may have really agitated them, especially with that Limp Bizkit song where it says, oh, you think you're special? This Virgin card, it says, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. They saw that within you, and they may have, acted that way because of you and saw that you were a good person and that made them be better, but only like because you exercised that. And, say like as soon as they left you, or, went to work or went to go do the dirt with somebody, behind your back, that left. As soon as they left your presence, that purity, your pure energy, stopped that. They would go back on demon time. So I'm getting that they're conflicted because they know deep down that you made them a better person by exercising that and being in that pure energy. But then they go back into, well, you think you're special, you think you're better than me. And just because they had, been, their parents triangulated and played these little games to, instead of reasoning with them and being, parenting them in an actual way, they would just use manipulation to control their children. Which, so, oh my God, never mind. So they might also think that your purity was fake with this trickster card in reverse. They might have thought that, what is that? Manipulating others through duplicity. And then we have vampire under that. So what I'm seeing here is they thought like what you would put this out here into the world, the Virgin card, the pure card, and they feel that you manipulated or used magic or something like that to hide that, or to express that out there, and deep down you were like a vampire underneath. But what I'm getting is that's because you were meant to show them. You were a mirror, you were a reflection, because you were so pure that you were, I just imagine you just being covered in this reflective surface that was showing them what they're projecting and how they are being. And that was meant to show them who they are, which is they try to act pure and saint-like when in fact it's all just manipulation, magic, lies, when in fact it was meant to cover up the fact that they're the vampire. They're the person that, takes and doesn't give anything in return. Depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. You were placed in their life to show them what, there it is. I knew it. The Mother card came out. Yo, what I say? I was shuffling that shit and that shit came out. You were meant to show them who they are, which is a fake angel, basically, you know, like a demon, a vampire wearing an angel costume. You were meant to show them that they, you know, when they thought it was you manipulating and doing all that stuff, it was them. You were the reflective surface to show that to them. Got that mother card out. Damn, dude. Okay, so since this came out twice, definite mother side. They have some mommy issues for sure. Very manipulative, especially because like the feminine, the dark side of feminine can be very manipulative, very intelligent, but very manipulative. So using their intelligence and intuition to control others with that. What does it say? Smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. That, what I say, y'all, what I say, mommy problems, we all got them. It's just a matter of if we choose to heal from them or not. Oh, I really got to go to work. I love you so much, babes. I hope this message was helpful and gave you some clarity. I'm really not the biggest fan on that, but sometimes you just got to know why. And I understand. I love you so much. Have a great day, babes.